and welcome to our latest partner webinar edition. We are here today with our rebate management partner, Enable. Rebates are an excellent mechanism for growing our business, and we'll be looking at how to use rebates to maximize the growth of your business and how manage those activities seamlessly with Enable and NetSuite. A few housekeeping notes before we get on to the task today. We'd like to hear from you throughout the session. Please add the questions to the chat box on your right-hand side. We have time left for Q&A at the end of the session, and that's where we'll be answering all those questions for you. It's also going to be recorded, the whole session, and a copy will be sent out to you shortly after. Now, please feel free to share this with your colleagues and friends, whoever may be interested. Let's start with introducing our speakers today. So I'm Will, I'm the host today. I'm a customer success manager here at Annexa. I've been with Annexa for 5 years. I look after the key accounts in Melbourne. And my role is to make sure that the customers are getting the most out of their NetSuite investment. And this job gives me the opportunity to work closely with partners like Enable, with Rob and Roger. So Rob and Roger, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, thank you, Will. Well, I'll go first, Roger. So before starting with Enable a little over a year ago as VP of Asia Pac, I've had probably 25 interesting years, really specialised focus on the accuracy of financial transactions. So financial transactions up and down the supply chain, and the majority of that time as CEO and founder of an organisation called Perfectus Group. So for many, many ANZ retailers, I've developed audit and compliance controls to really look at recovering leaked profit or lost profit in the form of overpayments made to suppliers or underclaimed rebates and incentives. So also advising on mitigating that future financial leakage, and done a lot of work with organisations like Coles, DJs, Bunnings, Myer. I think there are some attendees today of Myer. Repco, Chemist Warehouse, and many, many more. So over the years, ultimately, what I saw as the most effective way to mitigate this financial leakage and solve a lot of those process gaps that we were uncovering, but also to provide automation, collaboration, stakeholder management, centralisation of data, was through technology, which brings us here today.
Thank you, Roger. Rob
Great.
And Roger, over to you.
Really excited to be here today. So my name is Roger McConkey. I'm a solutions consultant here at Enable, and really excited to have the chance to walk you all through an Enable demonstration a little bit later. So really excited to have the chance to be here and to get to know you all.
Thank you both, Rob and Roger. So a bit of the agenda today. So we've already done the introduction to the speakers. Next, Rob will be talking about a bit about Enable and its value propositions, and then rebate management, how to maximize the growth, and there will be a presentation or a demo after that. Following that, we'll have the Q&A session. Without any further delay, over to you, Rob.
Brilliant. Thank you again, Will. All right. Well, who doesn't love rebates? So rebates come in many, many forms. There's a percentage of unit cost, of a percentage of spend or sales, of a dollar value of SKU. And also they're described in many different ways, from commissions on sales, volume rebates, markdowns, discounts, allowances. Ultimately, we do see them all as rebates. And the reason is that they all help incentivize our partners. So when we think about rebates, what we're doing is we're looking to set goals with our partners. We agree on them. We look to track those progress towards achieving those goals. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're influencing behavior. And when we think about rebate incentives and we think about world trade, we know that rebates and incentives influence $80 trillion of world trade. When we put that into, say, Aussie dollar perspective, it's over $120 trillion. What we also know for manufacturers is that rebates make up the single biggest indirect cost. For distributors and retailers, we also know that rebates and incentives make up greater than 100% of net profit. And a really good case study for those that are inclined to read very large, robust financial reports. The Coles 2023 financial results were a net profit of a little over $1 billion. Their rebates and incentives for that year were between $4 and $5 billion. So there we're seeing incentives and rebates actually make up 4 to 5 times their net profit. We also see that in many cases, when we're looking at rebate management systems within an organisation, that there are terms that are missed across suppliers or across customers. We know that using old technologies and or spreadsheets, that actually influences the financial leakage that I was talking about a little bit earlier. And in some cases, it actually creates a little bit of distrust and angst with trading partners. And I guess ultimately, this is where we come in. So the Enable platform doesn't just help us calculate the accuracy or calculate a claim or reconcile a claim with our customer. It actually helps us fully manage the end-to-end process required in creating an incentive. So we help house and create your rebates. We provide an automatic workflow so that you can actually execute that rebate or agreement, execute that agreement with your trading partner. We provide an ecosystem for collaboration. So this is really important, where we allow our trade partners to come into our technology and actually see the same data we do. So just removing those data silos. And then more importantly, and I think this is also where we think about business value rather than execution of automation in that rebate management space. But we use the data to really look at SKU profitability, even customer profitability, to actually help make better decisions. And our rebate management solution helps us manage both supplier rebates as well as customer rebates. So not only do we have a wonderful working partnership with Annexa, we also have a great partnership with NetSuite. And it's more than just a relationship, it's an integrated technical partnership. So we have full integration with NetSuite. And I guess if there are any of you out there who would like a more detailed conversation, reach out to your account manager, reach out to Will, and certainly Roger and I would be happy to come in and have a really detailed conversation around how we can look at an integration piece of NetSuite and the Enable platform. So moving on very quickly, when we think about the capabilities of the Enable technology, there is absolutely no doubt, being a specialised tech end-to-end around rebate management, that we absolutely compare really favourably when we look at features and capabilities against really all ERPs. And I think it's also really relevant to note that a lot of our teams, and we do have in the ANZ marketplace around 35 FTEs within Australia and New Zealand. Even more broadly, we have 500 people and growing. But within this marketplace, the majority of those people are helping us onboard, implement, and provide customer success. We certainly work with a lot of customers that use NetSuite, and a lot of those customers do have some really positive stories to tell around moving away from rebates and incentives being an administrative burden, something that we have to do to trade with our partners, to actually moving them towards using them as a business strategy, using them to influence behaviour of our trade partners. So to see the technology and then take us through the platform, Roger, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you so much, Rob. I will go ahead and share my screen, and we can jump into this. So if it's all right, I will share my screen, and hopefully you all are able to see this now. Okay, perfect. Sorry, just trying to make sure I've got all my correct tabs open. So as I mentioned earlier, really excited to have the opportunity today to walk you all through a high-level demonstration of the Enable platform. One thing that I wanted to call out as I get started here is that we are going to be walking through the platform through the viewpoint of supplier rebates, right? Meaning I am going to be collecting rebates that I've earned from my suppliers. However, it's important to note here that Enable also supports customer rebate management or circumstances where you might want to manage rebates that your organization pays out to your customers. So if you need support in that regard, we have a lot of experience with that and can support you there. But the focus of today's demo will be from the supplier rebate perspective. So as you can see, I've got the Enable platform up on my computer here. Enable is a web-based SaaS solution. All you need is an internet connection along with a username and password, and you can access the platform that you're seeing now. So every single user who accesses the platform can have their own set of permissions, just to ensure that everyone has a really easy to use targeted experience within the platform, and that they're only seeing, the processes and the data that they need to see. So as I mentioned, right, what you're seeing now here is the homepage, but what you don't see, what's happening behind the scenes is the constant flow of data coming in directly from NetSuite. We're constantly pulling in the necessary master and transaction data that we need in order to perform your rebate management processes. So Enable will make sense of that data and then tie the correct transactions to the correct rebate programs. From there, we can automatically calculate, accrue, and forecast for every rebate program within the system. And one of the first places that we can get insight into those rebate programs is the executive dashboard. So I'll actually navigate over to that right now. And as you can see, this dashboard is divided into 3 sections. I'll walk through each one of these individually here. But I'll call out first, right, as you can infer from the name, right, this dashboard was designed for executives to get really quick, high-level insights. It's essentially a 30,000-foot view into everything rebate within your organization. And this first section that I want to call out here is the opportunity section. So this is made up of your highest priority rebate programs. So if there are certain programs that you have in place that are either close to concluding, right, or maybe you might be really close to unlocking that next tier, we'll get those all right in front of you so that you can make strategic decisions on those deals. Right. So here you can see, for instance, this is what I'm forecasted to earn. This is how much I've currently earned. This is how much I need to spend to get to the next band. And if I want to get a quick visualization of those bands, I can really quickly see what bands I've achieved, what bands I've hit, right? What bands I'm about to hit and where I'm forecasted to hit. You can also get a quick view as to how much time is left for that program. Moving along here, we can talk a little bit about renewal status. So this is kind of the second portion of the dashboard that you can see in these 2 visualizations here. Really, the goal here with renewals is to help you understand, when your rebate programs are going to essentially expire and when you need to renew them. So here, as you can see in this demonstration, I've renewed most of my programs, but I do have a few, right, that are overdue, and you can see that in this graphic here. If I had any programs that were due for renewal coming up in the near future, that would be shown with a yellow bar here. And again, the idea here is we don't want you to miss out on any rebate because a deal may expire and you might not be aware of it expiring, right? You'll be able to get a quick view on all of that here. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about this compliance section. And this has everything to do with, what spend you have that isn't tied to rebate, right? So we want to think a little bit about, okay, in this example, we've got about 150 million of our spend that is earning rebate, but we have 63 million that's not. And then you can see what type of products we're purchasing. What are the products we're purchasing that aren't earning rebate? You can also see what vendors are we working with that we're not earning rebate from. All of this is going to be really easy for you to glean within the executive dashboard. So maybe the next time you negotiate a deal, you can keep that information in your back pocket, and you can try to negotiate these deals in a way that you can start earning rebate with some of these products and vendors that maybe you're not earning so much rebate with now. Next, wanted to move over into how these deals are created, right? Let's take a look at how the typical life cycle of a rebate. So I'll navigate over into our list of vendors here. Wanted to navigate specifically over to check out Lawson's Home Goods. And as you can see, I've got a few different trading programs in place with Lawson's right now. I'm going to navigate right into this 2024 agreement. And you can see this agreement is broken down into different program or incentive lines, right? So I'm going to take a look at one of these incentive lines in particular, this floor care incentive, and I can show you exactly how we built out this line and how quickly you can do it. So here you can see we can add a name really quickly along with a description if you'd like, and then we can give both a start and end date for this program as well. This program line type, you can also add if you want any type of reporting tied to these programs. So we might not talk a ton about reporting today, but if you did want to create certain reports where you looked at different types of program lines, you can optionally add this label. This mechanism here is really the brains behind the Enable platform. This is going to tell Enable exactly how that rebate should be calculated. So we have a lot of different types of mechanisms that you can select from, ranging from fairly simple to really complex. And the one that I've selected right now is actually a tiered percentage value mechanism, meaning that we are going to be able to earn a certain percent of rebate if we spend up to a tier amount with this vendor. And I'll show you how that looks in just a moment. On the right side of the page here, we can determine what transactions should be included in this rebate program. Specifically, I want to call out this dimensions aspect of the platform. So when we think about dimensions, we're really thinking about any type of data attribute tied to your transactions that will tell us, okay, this transaction should be included within the platform. In this example here, we'll include all purchases from all branches that we work with. However, if I actually click into this product section here, you can see we only want to include certain types of products within this program. I can easily select or unselect these purchases within the program, and I can also add inclusion rules if that's something that I want to do. In this example here, we're only including floor care products within this rebate agreement. Moving on down the line here, you can see the target bands associated with this agreement. So for instance, if we spend $550,000 with this vendor, right, we can go ahead and earn 1% back in rebate. And you can go on down the line spending $650,000 to earn 3 or $750,000 to earn 5%. Once we've hit that, right, we've got a rebate program ready to go and ready to earn for you and for your organization. And now that I've successfully created this program, maybe I want to go ahead and get this signed off from the vendor that I'm working with. Something that Enable can help your organization do is actually manage your contracts and your trading programs. So if we navigate over to the summary section here, you'll see that we'll automatically generate a PDF filled with all of the details of those program lines that you've set up. You can then go ahead and send this to your vendors through the Enable platform to get approval from them. If you have any type of processes in place, right, where maybe you need to get approval from certain members of your organization before you send out these agreements, or maybe your vendor needs different levels of approval to sign off these documents, we can work with your team and we can be we can configure our system to work with whatever needs you have there. One thing that I'll definitely emphasize as well here is you don't have to utilize this portion of the platform in order to receive the benefits from Enable, but we found it can be really helpful with a lot of the organizations that we work with. So now that we've signed off on this agreement, let's fast forward and look at the performance of one of these deals. So I'll navigate back over to this program line that we were looking at earlier and check out its forecasts. So a forecast is automatically generated when these program lines are created. And it's going to be based on your spending history with this vendor. So once we create this, you can see we're automatically going to forecast how much you're going to spend each month. And if you'd like, you can manually override this or upload different data sets to reflect what you want here. This can be really handy when it comes to accruing. So in this example here, you can see that so far we've spent about $125,000 with this vendor. However, Enable was able to determine that we're likely to spend about $738,000 with this vendor throughout the life cycle of this rebate program. So as you can see here, we're able to aggregate all of that spend and determine we're likely to end up in that second tier of rebate earnings. That way we can start accruing for that level of earnings the moment we create this program. and you can be much more accurate with your accruals right from the get-go. So right now we're just looking at one forecast of one individual deal. But maybe if you want to look at a summary of all of these different deals that you have together, there's a really powerful tool that we have to do that, which is called the watch list. So I'll navigate over there. And as I mentioned, right, the watch list is going to bring all of those forecasts into one place so that you can see how much you're forecasted to spend and earn with each one of your vendors. This insight can be really helpful as we think about strategically allocating spend to maximize our rebate earnings. For example, as you can see here in square number 2 with Powerline Technologies, we're able to tell you, hey, if you just spend about $5,000 more with Powerline, you'll unlock 30,000 more in the form of rebate. So you can start to make strategic decisions earlier on, determining if you want to reallocate spend with certain vendors so that you can, again, maximize those earnings. And while watchlist can be a really effective tool when it comes to viewing forecasts, we have another tool called Progress Tracker, which can be really effective in showing you exactly where you stand with each one of your rebate programs currently. So Progress Tracker is going to show you exactly how much you've spent with this vendor over the course of the program, as opposed to how much you spent, and you can contrast that with how much you spent with that then in a previous program. You can see how much rebate you've earned, along with how much rebate you earned last year or during your last program. And you can see how many days remaining you have with this vendor and their programs as well. Again, you'll see your actual and forecasted numbers when it comes to purchasing from this vendor and your actual and forecasted numbers when it comes to rebate earned. And you can get a similar view on the bands here that you saw within the executive dashboard, right? How much more do I need to spend to hit that next tier? Where am I forecasted to end up? And how much time do I have left to make these purchases so that I can earn this rebate? One other thing worth mentioning here in this portion of the dashboard is it's really easy to filter and customize this page according to your needs if you want to look at a specific vendor or a specific program. The last thing that I want to talk about and just touch on really is our reporting functionality. All data within the Enable platform can be extracted via reports, and those reports can be automatically generated as well. Common reports you might want to generate tend to do with how much a specific program's earning, how much your rebates are earning over, or how much rebate you're earning over a specific period of time. And you may also want to check out these finance reports as well. How much do my vendors owe us? How old or what age is that debt? And if you want to potentially manage any type of payment management within the platform, you can do that here as well. So I'll just mention that the data from Enable can be exported directly to NetSuite, so you can take advantage of Enable data within that system as well. And I think that really concludes everything that I wanted to run through today. For a more detailed presentation, please reach out to Will or any other member of the Annexa account management team, and we can set up a more detailed demonstration for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. If we can. Let's come back to the next slide. So now is the time for our question and answers. Please do go and add the questions in the chat box on the right-hand side. While you do that, I do have a couple of questions for Rob and Roger as well. So Rob, firstly, question for you. How long does it take from a sign-off to the implementation of this rebate management system and then to integrate it with NetSuite for a typical business?
Okay. So our typical timelines are around that 12-week process. So as I mentioned previously, the majority of our teams, and a growing team, I must say, 2.5 years ago, we had 2 FTEs. Now we have 35. The majority of our teams are really focused on the onboarding, implementation, and ongoing support. So typically we see that you're onboarded within 12 weeks. And depending on the complexity, could be a little bit longer, much of which is also reliant upon our customer timeframes, etc.
Sure, of course, yeah. You talked about complexity as well, so I could see that there is a many different types of rebate systems and offers that you have there. What are the most common ones that you see in our region in Australia?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I must say that there's the number one, and I know that the guys at Maya would know this. The number one rebate is the simple, straight down the line volume rebate. That is prevalent across most of the marketplace across ANZ. However, we do normally categorise rebates into 5. Look at those longer term incentives like the volume rebate, like some of those tiered rebates that Roger was illustrating earlier, incentivising behaviour on achievement of tiers. We then look at our scan deals, our short-term incentives, which is predominantly what we see in FMCG. So walk into any grocery, any major retailer, you'll see a product on special. They're typically designed for influencing our purchases, and we receive a benefit once that item is scanned. So short-term scan deals, long-term rebates. Where we're seeing really massive growth is in a category called advertising and media. So that's simply where retailers are using their front of house and their assets and actually selling those benefits. So it might be if you have a shop window, it's selling that shop window to your suppliers for them to utilise that space to promote their products. So that's really growing, certainly not only across ANZ, but it's one of the highest growth internationally that we're seeing. Supply chain rebates, very basic ones around short and long-term incentives, ullage are becoming more prevalent. And what we also define as special purpose rebates, particularly with massive growth of omni-channel. We're seeing specific rebates around omni-channel or rebates around markdowns and clearances. So 5 dominant categories, but our favourite and our most simple and straightforward is our volume rebate.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. Thanks, Rob. I don't see any other questions coming in from the audiences. So what we will do is then we'll just conclude here. Thanks all for joining us. We'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments, or if you'd like to organize. There is a question that's come in from Tanu. Yeah. The question is, can we customize the customer's rebate as per the company's requirement? Does the module remain same for rebates and vendor rebates?
Yeah, so and I think Roger touched on it at the onset. Although our demonstration today was predominantly looking at the relationship between an organisation and their suppliers, the model is absolutely the same with some special features because our relationship with customers are slightly different depending on your customer type. So the answer certainly is yes, we can design them specific to customer and your company requirements without question.
Well, thank you, Tanu, for asking the question, and thank you, Rob, for the explanation.
You're welcome, Tanu.
Is there? Yeah. So, any other questions? All right. So, I guess we'll wrap up the session here. Thank you, Rob and Roger, for jumping on today. And yeah, we look forward to working with you guys in this strong partnership. And for our customers, Anenxa customers and NetSuite customers, if you're looking to explore the solution further, please do reach out to your account manager at Anenxa, and then we'll get you in touch with Enable team. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Anenxa. Thanks, everyone.